Introducing the African Diaspora News Channel app, your gateway to stories that's overlooked by the corporate mainstream media.
And we serve as the voice to the Chofao Black community.
Again, we got Dr. Candace Matthews.
A lot of these documents, looking at.
We are committed to informing and educating through the power of media.
This country is supposed to be about the land of the free for all. It has not been free for Black people, and we are tired.
With our platform, we're helping to end injustice by exposing it.
Join us in standing for excellence in journalism and serving our community. Download the African Diaspora News app today.
Hello everyone, my name is Naledi Mfoloe and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Today we dive deep into the currents of information, from the pulse of politics to the heartbeat of entertainment. We've got it all covered, so please stay tuned for a news experience like no other. If you are a foreign state looking to buy influence in South Africa, you couldn't get a greater invitation than the one issued by the recently formed Afrikaaner Foundation. Now, in the most desperate dog metaphor imaginable, this is the equivalent of rolling over, panting and begging to be grabbed. And this move is, if anything, as undignified as it is alarming. Now, formed as part of the solidarity movement, the Afrikaaner Foundation aims to resuscitate international cooperation and support for the Afrikaners. Now, they aspire to reclaim what they believe to be the Afrikaners people's rightful place in the global community, with a specific focus on preserving the so-called Western traditions among Afrikaners and Westerners in South Africa. However, upon closer introspection, the Foundation's recruitment initiative, named after William Johannes Lade, resembles a pyramid scheme more than a genuine diplomatic effort.
Afrikaner people in South Africa, we regard ourselves as Westerners, and it's very concerning to us to look at America and many Western European countries and countries in the West and see the type of policies that they are trying to implement or flirting with currently. Because we have seen many of these policies having been implemented in South Africa for several decades now, and we are seeing the consequences thereof. So South Africa currently is, if we were to measure racism, the racism of a government, by the amount of race laws that they have written or implemented, then South Africa is certainly the most racist country or government in the history of the world, because we currently have more than 140 race laws in South Africa. So every sphere of society is categorized in terms of race, and it declares that people should be treated differently depending on the color of their skin. But it's a one-way streak. It's about discriminating against, in our case, minorities, especially the white minority, and using blaming the white minority especially for everything that's wrong with the country, using the white minority as a punching bag for politicians to gain political support.
And at the same time, a lot of people would say, why not just leave? Why not just pack your bags? You've decided not to. You're planting your flag and you're standing your ground.
Yeah, well, someone recently said, I was asked why am I not leaving for the sake of my children? And this person responded saying, I'm staying for the sake of my children. So we are Afrikaners, or Boers as we are known in the rest of the world. And our identity was shaped in South Africa. We've been in South Africa for hundreds of years, even hundreds of years or more than 100 years before the Declaration of Independence. We were already in South Africa. And this is where our culture is based, where we have fought for freedom, where we would like to keep cooperating with other communities as we have done in the past. And if we all just leave, it'll be cultural suicide. So many people have left South Africa, and we're very sad about that, but we're also grateful that the people who have left, many of them are acting as ambassadors, raising awareness, garnering support from outside of South Africa. But at some point, you have to say, I'm going to dig a trench. I'm going to take a stance. I can't just flee or get away from my problems, especially now. We know fleeing from South Africa to some Western European country We know that these countries have their own problems. It's not as if the grass is always greener on the other side. And I think the important thing that all of us should recognize is sometimes we should dig trenches, and we should say that we are here, we're going to take a stance, we're not going to allow them to keep doing this. And in as far as they keep trying to do this, we will not allow that to shape our destiny and our future. We're going to take ownership of the things that are important to us.
Now, William, for historical context, was tasked with garnering international support for the Boers during the Anglo-Boer War, a job he executed with notable success. Now, the recruitment initiative aims to mirror this by compensating those who recruit members abroad. Now, this raises eyebrows and reflects an outdated mindset trying to modernize its appearance without changing its core tactics. Now, this initiative feels like a throwback to the infamous Schoolbus scheme of the 1980s. Now, for those of you who don't remember or who don't know, this was a notorious scam where South Africans were duped into buying 500 Rand for milk yeast cultures used to produce cosmetics. Now, instead of genuine empowerment, I think that the Afrikaaner Foundation push for foreign handouts, coupled with questionable promises of prosperity, actually stinks of another con. First, let's break down how it works, right? So as a recruiter, you register yourself and then persuade at least 3 new members to join, including yourself, right? And then there are 3 tiers of compensation. At the first tier, you receive a staggering 150% of the amount your new members contribute, and it spreads over 3 months. And after that, for the next 24 months, you receive 10% of the monthly contributions of these members. And to reach the second tier, you must sign up at least 20 members, earning you 20% rather than 10%. And for tier 3, when you've recruited 50 members or more, it jumps up to 25%. Cool. Now, the Afrikaaner Foundation even sports a handy table on its website to show you how lucrative this could be. Now, if you sign up 20 people, you're looking at $2,520. And if you sign up 1,000, you're staring down to the barrel of $150,000, which equates to around 2.3 million, right? And so freedom, it seems, never tasted so good. Yet the parallel to rotten milk is unavoidable, both literally and metaphorically. Now, one cannot overlook the irony when the foundation describes its members as Westerners marooned on an African desert island. Now, this sentiment echoes loudly in their projects, which includes actions to recruit support from Afrikaners abroad and developing infrastructure in Orania. Yes, an all-known white-only settlement. Now, is the influence the Afrikaaner Foundation seeks to wield destined to be just another chapter in the saga of rotten white milk? We don't know, and the bitter taste of such schemes lingers long after the initial experience, much like the derogatory term called soetpeel, one used to define an Englishman with one foot in South Africa, another in the UK, and his manhood dangling in the Atlantic. Now, if this foundation's identity is defined as Westerners living in Africa, they're fueling the very hatred that some people use to justify sending white South Africans back to Europe. And if we're being honest, this entire saga leaves one wondering about the Afrikaaner Foundation's true objectives. I mean, what do they mean by striving to preserve the Western tradition among Afrikaners and Westerners? Preserving tradition in opposition to what exactly? An African tradition? And if we strip away the layers of propaganda, what exactly is left? Now, in conclusion, I think that the Afrikaners Foundation outreach is far more about desperation than genuine progress. It's a calculated dance to attract foreign investment and sentiment to sustain an outdated and diverse ideology, honestly. And this not only disunites communities, but also pushes back against the strides made towards true equality and inclusivity. And while we monitor the story, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts in regards to this Afrikaaner Foundation? Share your thoughts in the comment section. Let's engage. And while you're at it, please give this video a thumbs up. That's it from me. Till we meet again, it is goodbye for now.